If you don't know how to market your property, you're not going to be a vacation rental investor for very long. At myBeach Vacation Rentals, we know it's gotten harder than ever to market your property and keep it performing well, which is why today we wanted to go over kind of the strategies we use to keep it booked and performing well throughout the whole year. So first up, we have the OTAs, or online travel agencies. These are places like Airbnb, Booking.com, VRBO. There's some others out there, kind of smaller, not as popular, like Hopper, Whimstay, Google Vacation Rentals. We push it out on about 11 to 12 sites. We have our most success, though, on those top three that I mentioned, Airbnb, VRBO, and Booking.com. That's probably where we get about 90 to 95% of our bookings. The vast majority go through those just because they're the biggest brands, they're the most popular, right? We've found, because the competition is so high as well, that you really want to focus on your top platforms. So we focus on those three and try to optimize on those. What does optimize mean? Well, optimize really just means that you want to stay towards the top of their searches, right? So when a guest books or when a guest searches for a stay, very similar to a Google search, there's going to be multiple pages. I think on Airbnb, for example, there's about 20 listings per page. I always make that comparison to Google because the reality is guests aren't going to wait till page 10 to find their rental, right? They're going to find it in the first couple of pages. So we focus on optimizing, and what that typically means is just keeping your listing fresh, up to date, making little consistent changes. You want your pricing to be in line. You want your pricing to be in line with the market. You want your cleaning fees to also be in line with the market. And then you just want a good understanding, a good pulse on what tends to drive your listing up the pages. Sometimes that changes. Sometimes it feels like Airbnb, for example, really wants you to keep a lower minimum stay, and that helps you boost higher. Sometimes it may mean they want you to have a flexible cancellation policy. It really just comes down to what I think the guest is looking for, and you got to stay on top of that to really perform well on those booking platforms. The next piece we have is our direct booking website, and I think this is crucial if you want to have a vacation rental and one that does well for a long time. A good friend of mine says you want to build your house on your own land, right? And what that means is that you don't want to have to rely on Airbnb and Booking.com and so on for all of your bookings. It's great. They're very powerful. Guests will continue to book through those. There's no question that they're going to be around for a long time. But the problem is, if you're completely relying on them, you have to just go with whatever policy that they enact for host. And sometimes those policies don't align with your sort of best interest as an investor, right? So we have a direct booking website. We encourage guests to book through there. We get a lot of our repeat business through there because those are the easiest guests to kind of grab and collect and have them come back. And we really encourage them because we tell them that they can save a significant amount, usually 15 to 20%, because we don't charge the large service fee like Airbnb has or VRBO has. So we get them back through that way. Then obviously there's some SEO work that goes into that. If you're doing it yourself, you probably really just want to focus heavily on getting those repeat guests back and coming through your website. When you're a vacation rental manager like us, we have a bit more resources to grab guests from here and there. So we'll really focus on Google reviews and SEO and blogs and different content strategies to really attract guests that we haven't hosted before so that they stay in our properties and book with us. The next strategy we have is through email marketing. So every guest that comes and stays with us, we always collect the booking guest's email, right? That's pretty obvious. We then try to collect any other adult's email because typically, particularly in our larger rentals that are maybe 5 to 7 bedrooms, you're going to have multiple families, right? You're going to have multiple decision makers, if you will. So we want to collect all those decision makers' emails because then we can send promotional or marketing emails back to them. So we send 2 emails per month. One is an event or activity or seasonal sort of exciting, trying to excite the guests to come back email, just, highlighting stuff that's going on in the area. And then we have another email that is more of a promotional. It has a discount code, and we say, hey, you come during this week or these dates and you get a discount. And the benefit of doing that is, again, you're just staying in front of them. Airbnb's doing their own email marketing. The guest is inundated with stuff all over the place. So we're just trying to do our best to stay in front of them and maintain that relationship with them. And again, we send those emails out to all the guests that have stayed with us in the past. The final piece of sort of our marketing flywheel, if you will, is social media. Locally here, Facebook groups are really popular. That's kind of a niche in our area. It may be different. Instagram may be popular if you're in a bigger city. Around here, people love Facebook groups. There's a lot of local communities that utilize Facebook groups. But a lot of travelers, believe it or not, will also engage and join those Facebook groups. So we put out a lot of our posts into those groups. We prefer to highlight, again, sort of activities or events or restaurants or experiences that the guests can have when they're here, because right now I think, a lot of what guests value in a vacation is the experience that they're going to get out of it. So we would rather highlight those than our houses. We'll still do house posts, but just about everybody does house posts. It gets a little saturated, kind of gets repetitive. So we really try to attract them with the experience and kind of excitement of coming to the area. And then, once they kind of go down a little bit farther in our funnel, we'll start looking at our listings and narrow down the home they want to stay in. So that's the final piece of how we do marketing. Again, it's important to have sort of this diversified approach, just because you don't want to be too reliant on one marketing strategy. At myBeach Vacation Rentals, we do all of this for our owners. There's a few other things we do as well, and we are working on. I think guest experience is a massive thing when they come. The best marketing you can do to get future guests is that when those guests come, you give them a great experience so that they want to come back, and then they also share that with their friends or family or anyone else that might come to the area as well. So that's a very important aspect. But that's about it. That's all I have for this video. I hope you enjoyed. If there's anything, any videos, any topics, any interests you want me to go over in the future, I'd be happy to make a video on it. Just put it in the comments below. Otherwise, please like the video, subscribe, share it with your friends, family, and I will see you in the next one.